Welcome to the Goldfinger Minute, where every man has a story to tell and a reason to come to the Philippines. So stay tuned for some amazing stories.
I signed a lease on my house for 30 years. I went to the
Wait a minute, you signed for 30 years?
30 years. I went to the attorney because I heard all the nightmare stories about renting, and then they make it bad on you and you leave and you don't get your money.
Yeah.
I learned how to get around the 3 months down. I took $7,000 cash in pesos, and I had it in a bag. And my fifth real estate person that Goldfinger recommended to me, because I had a bunch of, that's a whole nother story. I had all that money in cash. We went to this one place.
7,000 US dollars in cash?
In cash, in pesos. I had it in a bag. And I liked that house. And the real estate person is Filipino. They're not on your side. And I showed them, I said, I got 7,000 cash. I'll pay you for the whole year right now. And they talked, and, a day went by. I don't want it.
420,000 pesos.
I had it in a bag. And don't think you can take the bag from me, because you can't. We went to the second house. I liked it. I said, I'll give you, I'm not paying 3 months up front. You're never going to see that money again. I said, I got 7,000 cash right here in pesos. I'll give it to you right now for the whole year. And every year I'll give you 7,000 cash. I said, I don't want it. It's off the table.
Money talks here.
That's right. We went to the third place. By now, that real estate person knows I'm serious. And if you don't take my deal, you ain't going to get the deal. And I saw this place. I said, man, it's perfect. So I whooped out that 7,000 cash, and they was looking at it. I said, I'll give you.
They've never seen that much cash at one time.
I showed it to them. I said, I'll give it to you right now. We will go to the attorney and sign the papers right now. For 1 year. No money up front, nothing.
Well, you're paying them 420. You're paying 400.
Well, they wanted 55,000 pesos a month. I got it for 34.8 because that's what 7,000 is. I got it for 34.8. I want you to come see my house. I want you to come.
And it's nice, really nice.
It's nice. It's an American style, 3 bedrooms, hot showers, 2 bathrooms, massive front yard, massive backyard.
So you took because I did a 15-year lease here.
I did a 30-year.
And I told them I'd give them first, last, and security. They only wanted first and last.
I
thought I got a deal. You got a better deal.
No.
You took one step
I can
higher.
negotiate anything.
Yeah, you sure you don't want to work for me?
No deal is better than a bad deal. And
Right.
never say yes the first day. Never. So we went to the attorney the next day, and I had that cash. And the attorney put it in the machine. And I got an 8-page lease. Anything breaks, this. And they love me.
And they wanted originally how much money?
They wanted 55,000 pesos a month.
And you got it for how much?
34.8. If you divide,
Does they have a rental increase next year?
No. It has to be that for 30 years.
Dude, I'm going to shake your hand. Okay, see everybody. Hello, say hello to everybody. All right, I'll hold you for a minute. All right, so now you came here how long ago?
I came here 6 months. I came here October 12th. In Memphis, I have a tree business, and I've had it for 40 years. I got 2,500 customers.
Oh, wow.
And I used to look at 20 jobs and get 18. Now I look at 20 jobs and I get 2 because the illegals have come in there and taken over.
Okay.
So my business is suffering so bad. And I used to do all the climbing, everything myself. Everything. I did everything.
You did it all.
Everything.
Chainsaw and all that stuff.
Everything. But as I got older, I can no longer do that. I mean, I'm coming to the realization at 62, I'm not as young as I used to be.
No
and
shit.
like John Wayne said, getting old ain't for sissies.
So that's what you are, 62 now?
I'm 63. I'll be 64 March 31st.
Oh.
So I was thinking I can keep working till I'm 80, or I can move to Vegas and retire. I wanted to go to Vegas and get some desert land and put a mobile home, not a mobile home, but a Tesla home. But then I kept Philippines. And if you'd asked me 2 years ago if I was coming to the Philippines, I said, there is no way I'm going to the Philippines.
And it's your first time here?
I came here. I didn't know anybody.
Right.
I sold everything. I sold my house, all my motorcycles, my clothes, everything in the house. I sold my paintings, my piano, 8,000 rounds of ammunition,
That's very unusual.
all my bullets.
Yeah, really.
Everything.
You sold everything in case.
Everything. You would have loved my coin collection. I had a lot of gold. I
Wow.
sold it all. I got on the airplane with 2 suitcases with basically 10 shirts and 2 shorts.
And you didn't put stuff in storage?
Nope. I thought about that the other day. I said, man, I should have put some of that in storage. But I don't want to go back.
That was a
don't
good
wanna go
idea
back.
because storage people put stuff in storage. They don't remember what they had, but they just pay month after month,
Yeah.
year after year,
Yeah.
and then finally when they go back there, they go, "What the hell was I paying money for to save this crap for?"
Yeah.
So
And I'm better off not worrying with all that. You know, I gotta get more coins. I gotta get more coins. I gotta get another motorcycle. I gotta get another car.
do you have proof sets, or did you have special
Yeah,
sets,
everything,
silver
everything.
coins?
I had stuff from 922 BC.
Einstein, you want out, don't you? You're such a pain, Einstein.
And I sold all of that.
Thank you.
I had a guy come
Thank
to
you,
my
Mike.
house, and he looked at all those coins. He
All
looked
right.
at all of those guns. He said, "I'll give you 10,000 right now for it." I said, "Write me a check." I sold it. I sold all the furniture in my house, everything. But the reason I picked the Philippines, I studied the Philippines for a year, and I studied the cities.
It's Paul's fault.
It's Paul's fault.
Yeah, not
And
mine.
it's
not
Goldfinger's fault.
No, it's not,
It's the
man.
gold man's fault.
It's Paul's
I
fault.
watched Goldfinger from day one when he first got here. I've watched Paul, I've watched O-Dog, I watched Mike, I watched Sim, the crazy guy Sim. I watched everybody because I'm OCD and I study everything before I do it. I love to buy a motorcycle, I research it for a year. But I researched Dumageddon for a year. And one of the first persons I met when I got here, I was at the mall like day 5. I said, "Oh my God, it's Goldfinger."
No.
I met Goldfinger.
Seriously?
Yes.
Really? I was the first person
You
saw.
were the first person that I really.
I hope I was nice because
You was very nice.
Sometimes I'm in a hurry, but
You were very nice.
Oh, good.
Goldfinger is the nicest of all the expats here. He will actually help you where a lot of people are like, "Rrr," but Goldfinger will help you. He wrote an ebook that, and I told Goldfinger everybody should be required to read that
okay,
when you get off the plane.
I'll pay you after this.
But I sold everything in America. I got on a plane, and when I got on the Philippine airline, after the nightmare of flying from Memphis to L.A., delay, lost luggage, and all that, when I got on
They
Philippine
lost
airline,
luggage.
your life changes. The minute you get on the Philippine airline in L.A., coming here, the way they treat you and how nice everybody is. And when I landed in the Philippines, I didn't have my e-thing filled out, and I was just stressing. The first lady I met, she says, "I'll do it for you." And she was a security guard. She did. Everybody is so nice. The Philippines is 1,000 times better
Yeah.
than I ever thought it would be.
Oh, that's good. I'm glad to hear that. I like it. I don't plan on going home. Screw that. I
Yeah.
don't need the politics or the social bullshit. To be honest with you, I just don't.
Don't get me started on that.
Okay.
How long is the tape? Will the tape run 10 hours?
Yeah.
You get on the social and
We may have to split this up.
the crazy stuff in America, it'll be 10 hours.
Well, I've gone with guys up to 2 hours, and
Yeah.
I've had to break it up into different, interviews. Like episode 1, 2, 3. I think I've had as much as 4 episodes, maybe
Yeah.
5. But let's try not to do that because
All right.
guys don't. I don't know if they want to watch that after a while. In any case, okay. So, but have you ever been to any other countries?
I've been to Romania, Netherlands, Paris, Bahamas, Canada, Nova Scotia, Mexico. I went to Mexico in 1980 when it was nice. You can't go there anymore. I fly airplanes. And a lot of people, they will not fly their airplane there. If you fly your airplane to Mexico, you have to hire a security guard to stand by your airplane all night long.
Really?
They'll steal the parts off of it.
They'll steal parts off of an airplane.
Yep. And when you come to get in the airplane the next day, "Oh, we happen to have that part, but it's going to cost you $2,000. You cannot. A lot of people will not fly their airplane. Like FlexJet and Fly Exclusive and those companies, they will go into Canada all day long, but they will not go into Mexico for that reason.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah.
Well, I know in trucking, we never take our trucks over the border. We drop the trailers off in Texas at it's with a L.
Laredo.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We drop our trailers off at Laredo, and we let somebody else bring it in because they would steal everything. The stupidest thing, they steal the washers out of where you put the hoses in for the air brakes. They steal little washers. What the hell? So we always had to have a bag of washers. They still in Laredo, they'd actually steal them too. It didn't make any sense. They're nothing. We'd have a bag of them, because we go put our hose in and it's leaking air because they stole the washer out of it. It's
Oh,
stupid.
my God.
They steal everything. They steal your tires, even in Laredo. So. because it's very Hispanic there. It's right near the border.
Yeah.
All right, so moving right along. So how do you feel about now? Are you have family back in the U.S.?
I have my 2 sisters that are older than me. I have 2 ex-wives. I have a 22-year-old son. And I would fly back tomorrow if he had a kid or had some big special. And I plan to fly back maybe. I was thinking once a year, but I don't want to leave. Maybe once or twice every 2 years, I may fly back and see everybody.
Fly back, but no grandchildren at this time. There's
No,
grandchildren.
Lord, no. If he has a kid and I have a grandchild, I want to go back and see that. But
Is he married?
mm-mm.
No.
Yeah, he's smarter than that. He's very smart.
22. You said 22.
Yeah,
Yeah. Okay. And 2 ex-wives.
2 ex-wives.
Uh-huh. When was the last one divorced?
I had a Romanian wife for 14 years.
Oh, that's why you went to. I was wondering where you went to.
Yeah.
Romania.
And that really got me to understand the Philippines a lot better. I've been to Romania 6 times.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, and my last wife was Chinese, which I adored both of them. But the Chinese wife, I really adored her. We were married 7 years, but 5 years Hin Hao, 2 years Bu Hao. I can speak a little Chinese.
Oh, wow.
Because she likes to go to the casinos,
Ah.
So, the casino got her. So I divorced her, and, I'm here. If I found somebody age appropriate that I really like, yeah, I would marry him because, everybody wants to get married.
Age appropriate.
Age appropriate for America, not age appropriate for the Philippines.
Oh,
Big
so what
difference.
does that mean? Let's go into there.
Okay, I'm 64. I'm looking for somebody 40 and up. That's not age appropriate for America. But,
No, it isn't actually.
It isn't.
No.
But there's what I see here sometimes is just really disturbs me and upsets me. But I'm not. You will never hear a negative thing about the Philippines out of Glenn Wimpy's mouth. So,
Okay, I'm going to say, okay, on that one, because you came in here, you go, how do these old guys get these young girls, and they barely can walk, and they're on a cane, and they're barely alive, and yet they have the cutest little Filipinas.
I go to the mall every day to eat because I can go there and eat good for $5, $8.
Yeah.
And I see 5 every day.
And it's air conditioned, and
Air
it's out of the
conditioned.
sun, and whatever it is,
I see 65, 70, 75-year-old men. Some of them can't even walk.
I know.
With these beautiful 25-year-old girls.
I know.
And it's not going to turn out good for those old men,
It is in their mind for the time being.
Yeah, but it's not going to turn out good. I'm 64.
So,
I don't drink or smoke. I'm in excellent shape.
Okay, in the U.S., you can't get away with that, okay?
Oh, my God.
But you can get away with buying a hot rod car. Back in the day, it used to be Mustangs. Now it's more, import cars. You could be 60, 70, and you could now afford, a Maserati, something from Italy, whatever, other cars like that, or you could afford with the top down, Yeah, so that's what we used to do when we got older is we'd go after young guys' cars that we couldn't have, like GTOs
That's right.
and things like that. All right, so here, the cars don't matter, okay, here, because they're going to mess them up anyway, because they don't take care of cars here. Okay, and you can't even get decent, really hot-looking cars here, to be honest with you. It's not, every car's a wreck here. It really is. Even if you buy a brand new, it's not going to stay that way, because they open their car doors against you, you get into accidents, they don't know how to drive here, okay? But you can get young girls. We're chasing our youth.
That's true. Men get old, and they have their old age problem, and I gotta have a car, I gotta have this or that.
Well, in the U.S., you can't get a hot girl.
That's right.
What 20-year-old girl's going to want to go with a guy unless
right.
he's a millionaire and he can afford to pay her, and he doesn't give a shit if she takes all his money? Okay,
That's right.
She'll probably have him sign a waiver that she won't be able to get anybody even if they get married. Okay, she has what do they call it, a marriage contract?
Yeah.
Okay, but they don't have that here, of course. But in any case, you're not going to marry I don't think you're going to marry a 20-year-old girl. Though I'm sure there are a couple guys that have done it, but you hear stories all the time about guys that got ripped off. Okay,
It's unbelievable.
They buy a house for them. They start off with something small. It could be anything small, and then they move up to a cell phone. Okay, because they want a decent phone, and then it moves up to transportation for it. But then eventually they buy them a house or a piece of property, and they build something. Okay, because it's so cheap to build here. You can build a house for, under $50,000 US. You can build a nice house for under $50,000. Labor is so cheap here. Materials are cheap too. And then but you can't own the property. The property is going to be in the girl's name, okay? and eventually she moves in, and she brings in her family, and the next thing you know, you're out on the street because
That's right.
she could tell you to leave her property.
That's right.
She can get a policeman to come in and take you physically off the property,
right.
okay? And yeah.
I wanted to buy some property when I got here, but I already knew what you said before I got here. I studied every little minute thing about the Philippines, and when I see those guys at the mall, it's just, I'm like, oh my God.
Well, yeah, and it's very common. I mean, it's extremely common. So you have to keep things real, okay? Because I came from Vegas. So in Vegas, you could have a hot girl too, but you know what you're paying for. You're paying money, it's a business transaction, and she's arm candy. She's an escort. She's a hired for a short term. But here, they'll tell you they love you and they want to be with you. In the U.S., basically they're looking for married men because they know married men aren't going to go say, I want to marry you. They don't want to get married, okay? Yeah. They want to hop from guy to guy and get as much money as they can and buy the fancy clothes and the fancy shoes and blah, 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 and get money, okay? And you know what you're paying for. So in Vegas, you pay for money and then you leave Vegas. But here, it's different. You can't just walk away. It's not like a city. They're all the same. Every city is the same. So there's hot girls everywhere, and the hot girls, they want to protect their investment. That's you, okay? Yeah. They don't want any other girl moving in. They're going to take care of you. They're going to make you happy and everything else. But they want something for it in most cases. They do. Yeah. I mean, it's not always 100% that way, but in some ways, there's some percentage there. They want you to take care of the family eventually.
Yeah. Well, you can walk around in America for 3 hours in a mall and see 3 beautiful women. You can walk around in a mall in the Philippines for 30 minutes and see 100. And they'll stop and talk to you. They'll make eye contact.
In America, they won't even look your way.
Yeah.
And here they look and smile at you. Okay, they look your way. And it makes you think like you're a young guy. And you think, even though you have a wrinkled up old body and you're bald, okay, you think like, I'm something here. I'm guapo.
That's
I'm
right.
guapo here, okay? It's like the girls are looking at me, they're looking at me, and you forget that you can barely walk, and you're overweight, and you're bald, and whatever, and you got gray hair and stuff like that. You forget because you think like when you were in your 20s, because you got 20-year-old girls looking at you and stuff.
That's
they want to hold your arm, they want to talk to you, they're going to listen to you. But whatever you say to them, where do you want to eat? They'll always say to you, I don't know, you choose, and whatever you choose, oh, that's great, that's fine. Okay, and that gets old after a while, okay? Because you realize that they're just whatever you agree, whatever you want, it's okay with them, pretty much. It's just as long as you are taking care of them and their family, that's fine. Well, that's a financial arrangement, okay? Yeah. It's not true love. But they'll say that they love you, okay? And you could easily fall in love with young, beautiful girls here, but reality is, okay, in most cases, not 100%, but in most cases, they're in need of someone to give them security. Yeah. Okay, they want security. Now they're not looking like in Vegas. It's short-term security. They just want money. Yeah. They're looking at the short-term transaction. Here they're looking at long-term transaction. Yeah. So here it's years. Okay, it's a transactional love, but it's different here because it's long-term transactional love. Yeah. Where in Vegas it's a day, a week. It ain't a month. Yeah. The girl ain't going to stick with you for a month in Vegas. It ain't going to happen. She'll disappear on you. She won't give you her real address. She'll move around to the next guy. Yeah. She'll get some money out of you. Yeah. I mean, it's similar, but it's a little different rules. Okay. Yeah. Now you told me you were going on a date when you came over here the other day, and you showed us your new bike, which we'll talk about in a minute. You bought a bike. Yeah. And you rented from me for a short time, right?
No, I never did.
You never did. Okay.
Yeah.
So, but you got a new bike. Well, let's talk about the bike first.
I like bikes. I've had dirt bikes since I was 20. I've had probably 10 dirt bikes, 20 Camaros, 10 Corvettes. But the bike I just bought,
Corvettes.
yeah, I love it. Don't get me started on Corvettes. Corvettes and German Shepherds.
German Shepherds are smart. I had German Shepherds.
Way smarter than me. But that's not hard to say.
And they're good. They're good companions.
They're better than
They're
people.
better than people. Yeah,
They don't want a new car. They don't want to go to the mall. They don't want to borrow money. They're always glad to see you. They don't lie to you unless they
they're
got
at
a
your
treat.
feet. They stay close
That's
to you and they
right.
protect you.
That's right.
Yeah. Anyway, so what did you buy?
I bought a CRF 450R, which is the biggest, baddest racing dirt bike you can get.
Okay.
Because when I came here, the reason I rented my house, I wanted to buy the land behind me and make a dirt bike track.
It's a 450. It's a. Is that a Honda?
Yeah, Honda CRF 450.
You know what? I own that bike. Oh, I just realized it. I had that bike. I
Oh,
used
this
to ride.
is brand new.
No, but not your
Oh,
bike.
you had one.
In the States, I had that bike for a
Yeah.
short term. I killed myself on it, okay?
Yeah.
I would head over heels on it because it did jumps and stuff. But I did. I had a 450
Yeah.
Honda, and I just realized that. And it was shifting and everything. Because we used to dirt ride with my kids, okay?
Yeah.
And my kid had a 125 Honda. That was a four-stroke. You have a four-stroke? Yeah, that's what I had. All right, so I know your bike. I used to ride that bike, but
You can come ride it.
then what happened was I started. He instead of upshifting, he downshifted, and I was following him. And the next thing I know, I'm climbing his tire because that's a 125 is a lot lower, and I start climbing his tire with my big wheels. Okay, and so to protect my son, I went down purposely.
Yeah.
And all I remember is light, dark, light, dark, light, dark.
Oh, my God.
And I was in so much pain, and that was the last time I went on that bike. Yeah. So, but you were that's a big bike.
It's a very big bike.
Yeah. So you're 6 foot what?
I'm 6 foot, 200 pounds. It's the biggest, baddest dirt bike you can buy. But when you buy it, you get the neutral bike, and it's got 4 buttons on the side. You can put 12 different settings. You can make it soft, neutral, or hard
they
racing.
Didn't have that back then.
Yeah,
Okay.
so you can change it. So I basically ride it on the soft setting because I can't afford to get hurt here, break my arm or break my leg. And I ride it easy, but I got a lot of friends at the dirt bike track, and I let them ride it. And there's a 16-year-old girl who's a professional dirt bike racer. I mean, she's professional. And I bought it for her, and she's been riding it because I want her to go to the States and be the world champion. But I bought the bike here. The problem with buying it here, you go in the Honda shop, everybody ignores you. They won't tell you the price. They don't know nothing about it.
And you can't try it.
Yeah, you can't try it.
You can't test drive a car or a bike
Nope.
here.
And you have to beg them to sell it to you. It's bizarre. I mean, then
Well, they don't work on commission. I don't
That's
think.
right.
They don't work on commission.
that's right.
Yeah.
You know, it's just frustrating trying to buy you. If in America, if you walked into the Honda dealership and you said, "I got my debit card right here, I want a bike," they would call you every hour for the next month.
Oh yeah.
Here, 3 months I tried to buy the bike. I couldn't buy it. Nobody knew the price. I'd come back the next day, and you know, it's just. But
Yeah, the salesmen don't know their products that they sell here. They don't know anything about it.
that's right.
They really don't. It's amazing. They'll ask them a question. They'll go, "Hold on," and they'll go open up the brochure and look for it.
Yeah. It's
Yeah.
funny you say that because I taught a lot of them about the bike and the differences between the bikes, and it was just I'm like, am I really in a Honda dealership?
No,
But
they don't know that. They don't know what they sell. And that's true of appliances too.
yeah,
You ask them about different appliances. Well, which one's better? They go. They'll go by the name brand. They'll say Sony's better, or they'll just say, "Well, it's this one's more expensive, so it must be better."
yeah,
You know, what's the features on it? They don't even know how to use it. No, they don't know anything. They don't know anything about what they sell.
yeah,
They don't know and air conditioning everything. So you got to study it yourself. You have to go online and study it yourself,
Yeah.
or know ahead of time the brand names and what model and stuff like that.
yeah.
Yeah, they don't know. They don't know shit here. It's really
Yeah.
amazing. They're the worst salesmen here.
I got the best price. I had a price in mind, what I would pay, and I wanted to work down below that price, and I did. But the problem was there was a 450 and a 250 sitting there, and I pulled that 450 out on the floor for 2 days, and we discussed it. We never one time talked about the 250. So finally, they made calls for 2 days, and they got the price down. And when I went in there the next day to pay, They said, "Oh no, that was the price for the 250, not the 450." I said, "What are you talking about? We never one time talked about the 250." So here we go again in these bizarre negotiations.
Oh man.
So finally, they got it priced down a little bit more, but it was still below what I was willing to pay $8,000.
Is it cheaper here than the U.S. for the bike?
Yeah, probably that bike is probably $2,000 cheaper. Now I also have a 300 CRF street bike. It's a dirt bike, but it's got lights on it, and it's $1,000 cheaper. And the same thing when I went to buy that bike. I went to every dealership for 2 weeks. Do you have a 300? Nope. Can't get one. No. And I went to pick my laundry up one day, and I said, let me just go in here and look. It's a Monday morning. I asked a different guy. He goes, yeah, we got one in the back. I said, show it to me. And I walked back there and saw it, and I paid him on the spot. You know, it's just.
They didn't even know what they had in the back.
They don't even know.
And the other ones. Yeah, it's amazing. They really don't. They're the worst salespeople here. They seriously don't know their stock or anything else. Or they'll pull a bike out. They'll say it's brand new, but it's built in 22. Okay, but it's new, but it's built in 22. Yeah, it's new. Nobody wrote it. It's new.
The bike I bought.
They won't even tell you that
That's
the year.
right.
They'll sell you a bike here as new. Okay, and you go, is it a 2025? And they're silent. They go, when was this bike made? You have to ask that specific question. When was this bike made? And they'll look it up and they go, oh, this was made in 2021, 2022. So when guys call me, they're going to go to Honda Shop to go buy their ADV or their PCX or whatever. I says, find out what year it was made, okay? Because they go according to when it gets licensed and sold. And if it was made in 2018 and you buy it in 2026, it's a brand new bike to them.
That's right.
2026, but it's not. The
It's
parts aren't the same. And
exactly.
and when you go to sell it, we are conditioned to the fact that this is a 2022. It's not a 2025 bike, okay?
Yeah.
But they go according to when they sell it. But the LTO puts down the manufacturer's date.
That's right.
Yeah. So when you go to sell it, they go according to how many kilometers are on it. They don't care what year it is here.
Yeah.
They only want to know how many kilometers are on it and what condition it looks in. It's just very different here.
It's funny you say that because it's a 2022.
It is.
And I bought it in 2026.
Right.
It's been sitting
And they've been telling
there
and they told you
for
it's
4
new.
years.
And they told you it's new.
Yeah. It
Yeah.
it is new.
It is.
Because it's never been moved.
Right.
But it has sat there for 4 years.
Why would they sit a bike there for 4 years and not put it out front and put a special on it? Why would they do that?
You would think they would want to sell it. Because in America, if you have a new car.
You'd have blown it out. It would never last 4 years in America.
You lose money every month.
Yeah, in 2023, they would have put that bike out. This is last year's model. We'll give you $1,000 off of it or whatever.
Yeah.
They'd have blown that thing out because they don't. They're horrible businessmen here. They're horrible. Okay, I've always been in business for myself. I very rarely it was employable. Okay, because I look at things. I go, you're doing this wrong, and then I show the owner, and sometimes they get mad at me when I go, you're doing it wrong, okay? I mean, because I see ways to make things better. It was the same as my dad. How to make something cheaper, better, or get things done faster, okay? Even pouring a concrete on a driveway. I had a guy, I says, you're doing the forms wrong. I can see that you're doing the forms wrong. There's too much finishing work. They're putting the sticks on the inside, then they're pulling the stick out, and I says, just put the stick on the outside and the flat part on the inside. That's the finished part. I'm like, it's just so much common sense.
Yeah.
No common sense in the Philippines. Absolutely none. Okay? So I shouldn't say it, okay, because I said I was going to keep it to myself, but I have a new business I thought of. I don't have time to start a new business, but I thought of a really good business. And somebody's going to make a comment about this. Now, I've talked about the storage yards. There's no storage yards in Dumaguete, and I've talked about that before. And that's a really good business because there's metal containers right down the street. You can buy used ones for cheap, okay, because they're dented and they can't use them, or the corners messed up where they have to pick them up by. Okay, so you can buy the dented ones and have them dropped off for nothing because they're just cutting them up for scrap metal, okay? So you can buy them for scrap metal, steel. There's a better business I came up with, okay? They need a used parts, okay? Pick apart. They don't have any yards that they can go to, like scrap yards, where they can go for bike parts.
Yeah.
Okay. Now, I thought about this, but I'm not going to have time. This would be probably a better business than bike rentals, than even a storage yard. It's actually even better because if you think about it, there are no used parts here. You have to buy new. But the Filipinos are very good at making a part from one bike and make it fit on another. They're really handy. They'll drill holes, they'll bend the metal, but they'll make things work. There's no used parts here. Now the LTO here has a huge yard filled with bikes that didn't get registered and nobody picked them up or paid for them, or they were abandoned, or they didn't license them, or whatever the problem is. Okay, they have like several hectares piled with bikes. Okay, but they just sit there. Okay, because nobody picks them up. They don't know what to do with them. So you can go to the LTO here. Okay, I talked to the guy. Okay, I says, would you guys ever sell these bikes? They go, yeah, we'll sell them. I says, what if I bought huge quantity, okay? And I told you that you could drop your bikes off here, okay? And they have to hold them for so long. So they have an area where they hold them for several months, and then they go into the pile, okay? I'm teaching you pile, like a junkyard pile, okay?
Wow.
Yeah, because they don't have enough room in the hectares to have them on one level. They literally put them up, okay? So I says, if I bought large quantities, and I told the LTO, okay, that you could bring your bikes over here and I hold them for 6 months, and then after that they're mine, okay? Saving them storage costs and rental costs, okay? And all they have to do is pay the back fees, whatever the fees they are at the LTO, and then release them, okay? And I says, would you guys drive your bikes, bring the bikes over here? Because they put them in back of trucks, they bring them in, they drop them off. Some of them are fairly new. So, I mean, we're talking all bikes. We're talking not just scooters, all bikes. All Filipinos' bikes. And he goes, yeah, you realize you can get the bikes for nothing? You can get the bikes for nothing here. And then you can open up a yard and you pick apart. You don't have to do any labor. You just have to have hours. You have to have a fence. You have to have a yard dog. Okay? But you could have a pick apart here in the Philippines and just do motorbikes. You don't even have to do cars, because motorbikes don't take as much room. You would need a lot of room. You would need a hectare or a flat land or whatever. But you imagine how good that would be?
That'd be
parts?
excellent. Because they have that in America.
Yeah, they make good money in America on used parts. Sorry, I went on a tangent. Anyway, it was an idea that hit me a few days ago, because I'm always looking at things as it's just part of me. Okay, how to make money. Okay, it's just something I do. Okay, I should write a book on how to make money, because there's so many ways to make money. They don't have a scrap yard here where people can get parts. It's stupid, because they all have. The only way they could get a part is off of another bike or buy new at a dealership.
Yeah.
There's no used parts. There's no reconditioned parts.
Yeah.
Like they do in the States.
They don't have that in Manila or Cebu?
I don't know about Manila and Cebu, but I can tell you in Dumaguete. I'm not all of Philippines, but they don't have one here. I've never heard of one.
Yeah.
Okay. So what's happening now, and I have to be careful how I say this, some of the guys that know about it, they pay some money, maybe under the table, and they go over to the LTO where the yard is, and they go in there and they get parts.
Yeah.
Okay, I have to be careful how I say that, because I just said it wrong. But anyway, so they're already actually doing a little side business there.
Yeah.
But because you have to be Filipino to get in there. You can't be. Foreigner wouldn't use a used part anyway. Foreigner would buy a new part. You go down to the Honda, you get a new part. You would, but Filipinos, they save money, and they'll make something. You can get a part from one bike, one manufacturer, and make it use on another one. They'll make it work. I don't care what it is. Yeah, seriously. Yeah, you get the bikes for next to nothing. And how many times if you drive around, remember how I think you were saying the other day, when you buy something, you look around and see where there's others of the same. Okay, like if you buy a Camaro and you're looking at Camaros all the time, you go, oh, there's an orange one, there's a green one. You don't pay attention to it until you own it yourself. Okay. Well, I started looking around at bikes, and I see them sitting around on houses, old bikes, with the weeds growing through it.
Everywhere.
Okay, so if you offered a small fee and you bought the bikes, even if you didn't get it from the LTO, if you bought bikes, you'd have to give very little to it, okay? Mm-hmm. So 1,000 pesos goes a long ways here. You can buy a bike for 1,000 pesos, okay? What is that, $15, $16?
Yeah.
But the parts are worth hundreds when you piece it around, build it out. The wheels, the chains, the gears, the engine, they'll rebuild an engine, all the wiring, all the lights, the headlights. They don't care if they use a different headlight on it or a different blinker lights, or they don't care. They'll fit a piece of metal. But it's true, right?
Yeah.
Anyway, a tangent.
No, that's a great idea.
Yeah,
I might steal it. I might do that
I know
today.
everybody's going to steal it. I wasn't going to say it, but I don't have time for it. I'm so busy now. I cannot do it myself. A great idea.
It's like you could hire a manager, let the manager do it.
I know. I thought about it. I actually offered money to lease the property across from me. There's a big piece of property right next to me and right across from me. There's a big piece of property, and I said to him, I'll lease it for 25 years. And I thought about doing the storage, and I says, I could do the storage and the scrapyard on the same piece of property. Or there's two properties, one on either side of the street. Or I could have one storage, the other one scrapyard. I don't have the time. I gotta eventually free up my time because I'm spending no time with Carolyn. I'm not retired. That's my problem. Okay, I'm not retired. Anyway, back to you. Sorry. So you met a girl. You said to me the other day, we were going to do the interview yesterday or the day before. I think it was a couple days ago. And you were going to do the interview, and we went out to lunch, and that's why. And you didn't make it back here because you said I have a girl to meet. Tell us about that.
She ghosted me.
She ghosted. She
ghosted
never
me.
did show.
No. You find out you're 6 months here that a lot of people, especially girls, when they say, "Oh yeah, I'll meet you tomorrow at 3:00 for lunch. I'll meet you. I'll be there," and then you won't hear from them for a week, and after a week they'll message you, "Oh, I'm sorry, I was busy. I had to do this or that." In America, if you tell somebody you're going to meet them at 3:00, Americans are going to be there at 2:45. They're going to be there. Their word is like go. But Philippine women, now they're not all like that. I have met some that were on time and did what they said. But I've learned that 80% that you're going to meet are not like that. I can walk around in Robinson Mall and meet 10 girls.
Yeah.
But are they serious? Are they going to meet you? Are they going to meet you for lunch? Some of them will, but you can't believe what they say.
Right.
I mean, it's frustrating. And at this point...
No, it happened to every guy. Every guy that dates. I had dates set up, and I was supposed to meet him, and I sat at a cafe. I said, "Hey, I'll be at Gabby's." And 30 minutes later, I'll order food because I've been waiting. And I'm sending messages. I'm texting, calling. They don't answer their phone. They're not answering messages. What happened? Oh, I had something else to do. Well, did you ever think that? I said, did you see all the texts I sent you? I mean, did you ever think to just say, "Hey, I can't make it"? No, they don't do that because they don't do anything negative.
Yeah.
Absolutely nothing negative here. They will not say or do anything that implies something that's negative. Have you ever noticed that too? The only thing they'll say is we're out of stock, but they won't say no, we don't have it. They won't use the word no.
Yeah.
Okay, they never use the word no. You watch that. They never say the word no. They'll say we're out of stock.
Yeah.
But that just means they don't know. They don't know what you asked. They don't know what you said. They don't even know if they have it or not.
Exactly.
Okay, they don't say I'll go look. They'll just say out of stock.
I went yesterday to the toy store.
Yeah.
The lady that works at the laundry that does my laundry, perfect, quick. Her little boy came to her, and I buy for everybody. I buy food, toys, clothes for everybody. It's a grain of sand. And I went 2 or 3 places in the mall, wanted a toy airplane for a child over 3. Out of stock, we don't have it. And then
that doesn't mean they don't
it's right.
have it.
And 5 minutes later, I said, "Sir, right here." They don't even look. And I wanted some gloves for my friend, that's the dirt bike rider,
Yeah.
to ride. Oh, we don't have it. And I walked over here. You got 3 different kinds. Why do you even say that?
Because they don't know what you said, and they don't want to say I don't understand you. They don't want to say I don't know or anything else like that. They can't say that. And so when they don't know, they just say we're out of stock. It's their response answer.
Yeah.
Because it's just they can't say something negative even about themselves. They cannot accept it.
It's bizarre.
Yeah. And I have another friend. We went out, and he says he gets so mad at them. He goes, but he talks to them, and they just look at him like I'm not here to argue with you. They're not going to argue. They're not going to argue with you. They're not going to, do you have hot tea? And she goes, I'll go check in the kitchen. Well, he says, well, you don't know if you have hot tea or not, and she won't say anything. She'll just, I'll go check in the kitchen. And I look at her and go, you don't understand the Philippines yet.
That's right.
Stephen, I think Stephen joined us.
Yeah.
Yeah. What was at the table? He was trying to. Were you there when he was asking the waitress about something and she wasn't catching on? He was trying to. He's dancing around her. You notice all the words, and she doesn't understand what he's saying.
Yeah.
And she doesn't answer. You don't answer. When they don't understand what you're saying, they're not that quick. Okay, there's no common sense. They're just not that quick.
I've learned, like when I go to Sam's Rifle, I get the same waitress that understands English, because I've ordered stuff and they brought me something totally different. Totally
Well,
different.
you order a plate of food, they don't always have utensils on the table. So, you know, and they don't know what a setup is. You can't say setup. So
That's
I
right.
need a fork. You can't say I need utensils. I need a fork and a spoon. Now, you would think serving you soup, they bring you a fork. They serve you soup and they bring you a fork. Okay?
Yeah.
It's just very, very difficult. You have to have a lot of patience here, okay? And you have to be very specific for what you want. I need a soup spoon because they'll bring you a teaspoon. Okay,
Yeah.
I swear it
Yeah.
happens here.
I know.
Okay, so it's crazy. Yeah.
And they're bringing your ketchup 15 minutes later. No, I need it now.
Yeah.
I want all my food at the same time. And I tell them.
That's what he wanted. Remember, he wanted all his food, and they brought the salad first. You
Yeah.
remember that?
Yeah.
He says, "I want you to bring everything at the same time." Did they do it? No. Did you get upset about it? Yeah. Dude, that's the Philippines. Okay, it comes out. They serve it as it comes out. They don't serve a table at a time. They still serve a person at a time, and whenever it comes out of the kitchen, because they make one thing at a time.
Yeah.
Have you ever noticed that?
Yeah.
You have a table of 6 people. They're all going to start and end at different times. 4 people could be eating, and the 5th person is still waiting for their food.
That's rude in America. You
It's
don't do that.
very bad.
But it's just, you got to get used to that and know it's going to be like that.
Yeah.
You know, it's frustrating to me because I want everything done now, fast. I want it right. I check my French fries. And I told the manager, never bring cold French fries to America. You just don't do that.
Yeah.
You make sure those French fries are hot, you know. And they learned when I come in there now, they pretty much know what I want, you know.
Yeah,
so.
and there's another problem too. So let's say you tell them you don't want it spicy because it says on the menu spicy.
Oh.
I do not eat spicy food. I can't. My stomach can't handle it. Okay. Years ago, fine. Today, no. Okay. They bring it over and you taste it. And it's like, spit it out. It's too spicy. So this happens very often. So I'll send it back. It's too spicy. You can't take the spiciness out of it. Okay. I don't know what they do, but they bring it back and it's just as hot, or it's the same food. Okay, I don't know what they put it in a strainer, run water over it. I don't know, but it's still spicy. Okay, no, you have to make a new plate. Okay, but when you get your bill, you're billed for 2 meals.
That's right.
So if I change my bill, I'll say, never mind, just give me a cheeseburger. Okay, don't put dry. Now they don't know what dry is. No. What do you put on? You have to be very clear. Is it 100% beef? Yes.
No
it is.
way.
No
Not
way.
even close.
Not even close.
Oh, my
They'll
God.
I know. They don't know what 100% beef is, okay? Because the beef will have flour in there, okay? Raw flour. Seriously. Or pork and beef mixed together. But what they're thinking is they started with 100% beef. But when it got done, it wasn't 100% beef. So yes, they did start with 100% beef, but they'll say, and I'll tell you how many times I said, is it 100% beef? Is it? Oh yes, 100%. I take one bite. This has got sugar in it. Okay, I can't eat this. It's got sugar in it. Okay, why would you add sugar to beef? They don't answer. They don't answer anything negative. Why would you put? Who's your chef? Has he been here a long time? They won't answer anything negative.
They just look at you.
They'll just look at. They'll look
Great
at you.
poker
and
players.
They won't change their face expression. They'll just look at you, and then they won't even suggest a different thing. They won't suggest anything. It's up to you. And then if you're sitting there and staring at them long enough, and it's a staring contest. Would you like something else? They might say, do you want me to take it away? They'll ask me, do you want me to take it away? Yes, I can't eat it, okay? But they won't suggest something else. They'll just say, should I take it away? Yes, but it's going to end up on your bill. The sweet burger is going to end up on your bill, and then you order something else that they can't screw up.
Well, I'm like you. I see ways to improve and make money. And the Sands rival, if they would clean the tables, you could get more people in and out. And there wouldn't be a line out. So if you would just have 2 people doing nothing but clean the tables, then you get more people in, more people out. There wouldn't all be all the people waiting.
But they have the waiters doing the cleaning and the serving.
It's just madness. It's madness. And it's like you go to Watson's in the mall. There's 1 person checking. There's 20 sales girls. And there's 3 lines.
Yeah.
And I told the manager, why you got 20 people checking? Why don't you get 2 more people checking, and then you won't have all these lines?
Yeah.
Because Americans, you lose money because they're not going to stand in line 30 minutes.
Right. No, it's just not going to happen. It's not going to happen. They don't, managers here, I don't know how they become managers. What qualifications are they to be a manager? Because they certainly aren't very good at managing. And when I got in trouble, when I first got here, I got in trouble because I had it with this manager. I've talked about this before, and we're not going to go into it again because they know. But at Ground Zero, the head manager did nothing. The first thing she does is she walks in late, She walks in at 12, 1 o'clock in the afternoon. Okay, there's nobody there up until then. Okay, so no manager there for the breakfast time. They're not having servers. You ask for something, you don't get it. You got to call them. You got to wave at them. Hey,
Can't get the check. Forget about getting the check.
You stand up. You got to go to the front. Hey, we like to order now. It's crazy, right? Then the same thing for the check. Now in the U.S., they bring the check before you finish the meal.
Yeah, they want you out of there and get somebody else in.
Right. Do they do that here? No. They will not bring you a bill. You could sit there for an hour. I'm serious.
I know. I do this. Check.
And here it's called bill out.
Maybe I'm doing that wrong.
Yeah, they don't know what a check is. A check is something you write on a checkbook. So you can't say check. You got to say bill out.
Oh.
It's a terminology. And they won't correct you. They don't go, and they won't say to you, what do you mean? Okay, they won't come to you, what can I do for you? They never say that.
Yeah.
It just won't. It's the weirdest thing, okay? So unless you learn the exact terminology, you can sit there forever and they'll never, they won't even ask you a question. Do you want your bill? They won't ask. They'll just ignore it. They have no idea what you're saying. They'll just ignore it and go on about their business.
Yeah.
So that's why. Now,
Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. It really helps the algorithm. And be sure to ring that bell so you'll be notified when I post another video. See you then.
That's my Goldfinger.